Hey guys, we're back. Today I'm gonna make some sunflowers. You can see today it says day 18. Today is the 19th of November, but for me it's day 18 of Nodevember because I'm a day behind, and one of these days I'm gonna have to make up a stream. So let's get started right here. I am going to just use a cube right here. So just delete everything and then add a cube and subdivide it. Well, no. Yeah. Of course, we need geometry to work with. So, just like that, we have a simple subdivision, and it changes the cycles. So Camel Clark, that smooths it out. We want simple. So that's the difference there. And then create a new material. If we minimize this, go down to settings and displacement only. So that's what we have right here. But it's we're not going to see any change in the geometry until we actually plug in some nodes and make some changes here. So let's get into the shader system right here, and I change this to the noodles to curvy. If you go to edit preferences, and then themes node editor, and down here you can tweak how straight and curvy these are. So I like it at 4, and I'm going to as always, activate the Node Wrangler add-on so you get the shortcuts. I mainly just do two things with this add-on, Node Wrangler right here. I'm thinking while I talk. I sometimes end up writing what I'm saying. Message in the comments. Who else does that? Oh, hey, Kaj. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining me. So I'm going to use this vector displacement here and put that in there. Yeah, we can see displacement stuff. Actually, right now, you can see that does things. We don't care about displacement yet. We're gonna make this flower, and then I'm gonna try to mask out sections and then shift them around so that I can get the petals in different spaces, and then get the sunflower on the top. So first thing, I'm gonna make the big piece of eye candy, which is the top petals of the flowers. So to do that, I need this object coordinate, so this will give it context, tell it where the space is for the texture. And then I use this gradient texture. If I change that to spherical and then just shift it using this add node, so this kind of just changes the position of things, we have that on the top. And we're also going to use a radial texture because we're going to need that to create the petals. So I'm actually going to focus on that first. If I, what am I doing? Okay, so if I just put a wave texture in here, get some repetition, very nice, but if you look at where this radial gradient terminates, it's right there. You'll notice there's a sharp, you can barely see it, but there's a sharp line right there. And that's because this preset isn't seamless. It really should be pi. So that's even, and any multiple of pi would be good. There's a lot more of those here, so let's just multiply by something that's pi. Maybe that's a bit much. It's just times 2. Any whole number. And let's multiply this and plug that in there. Kaj, let me know if you have any questions. Very happy to answer them, since you're kind enough to join me, and the channel's still young, so so we're getting something kind of cool right there, right? Already. Be nice if there was it felt like there was more variation per petal, and cheat for that is let's just add some distortion in the beginning. So I'm using, and to do that, we always use linear light, so adds above, everything above 0.5 gets shifted up, and then everything below 0.5 gets shifted down, so we're added versus subtracting 0.5 or whatever. So I'm going to bring that all the way up. Well, when I plug it in, it's going to be dramatic, so we'll adjust this factor, bring it down, and so already we're getting kind of that, and we can increase some of this, but we don't need to go overboard in the detail. And yeah, so let's make the centerpiece, and as we look back here, we have this spherical gradient that we can use for that, and so I'm just going to mask it out. Let's actually change that node to color ramp. So Shift S to switch that, sorry, and let me turn on the screencast keys so you can see what I'm actually doing. Mostly I've just been doing Shift A and then Control click to sample things. So let's bring that in, and let's first do the height with this. Because we don't have a clear side angle, right? So this kind of goes in, and then there's a bump there. So we can, kind of give it a high point here, and then bring that in. So, yes, this should actually be darker than whatever's on the edge. But I'd like that masked out though. So, you know what the heck? Let's adjust this gradient by using add. So now this gradient should work within just that area, and but then we lose that. Maybe we'll just do, multiply. We'll adjust the range. It doesn't matter. Let's just forget it. Let's just do this. So we have there'll be the outer rim. So that should be the brightest point, and then really there's just like a ridge in between that, and then we can adjust the curvature of it. So actually that, and then there. Yeah, so just put that there, and then cardinal gives it a curve. So it's like, ease would give it sort of an S curve on the edges, which doesn't really make sense, right? I mean, it makes more sense if you plug it into displacement, but that looks wacky, so we need to put it into this vector displacement node and plug into height and just the scale. So yeah, so that's the kind of thing we're looking for there, but let's change that to 1, and then we can multiply this. And right now, these other parts are getting shifted because, oh yeah, let's change the mid-level to 0, I think, yeah. So now it's just shifting this top part. If I shift, yeah, let's use normal, so Control Shift click. Oh, and sorry, I'm covering this with my reference, so you're not getting the shortcuts, just realized. So, yeah, and then we can subdivide this another time, a little more detail, and what are we doing? Let's make, yeah, so let's adjust this right here. This could be a lot. Let's bring this out. Is this the brightest point? No. Okay, yeah, so we need to bring that closer so we can see. And see, it's a lot easier to see that with displacement than if I were just using that texture. And I just plugged, if I didn't explain this, I plugged into the normal here so that I could quickly just see the geometry, without having to put in lights and then a material shader that would take longer to render. Let's just spread that out, and then with this, we can take this dark node right here, this outermost node. Actually, I mean, yeah, we're gonna mask that out, so it doesn't really matter. But we'll take this white part, and then with the less center in that node, we can start masking it out at that level. So the threshold will be that. And we're taking it from this gradient, so now we have a mask version that we can use to sharply mix the petals with the flower. So let's plug this into here, and these are the petals here. So let's put put that in. Okay, so I think we're getting... interesting. Oh yeah, so we're getting the black from the... Let's just flip these. Right, like that. It's that's a funny looking one. So let's adjust the... whoa. Okay, so let's... elongate this by like adding, let's do multiple add. This will just adjust the range of the gradient, so I think a higher level will bring them together more. And then, so just kind of a dance between them, so then I bring this down to sharpen it. I'm liking that. So, and the petals are getting some kind of height to them, which is nice. And I think I want so if you look at this mask, I'm going to do another mix shader right here and change this to add, because I want to change the curvature of this, but I want to mask. I don't want the sphere to affect anywhere outside of this. So this, I'm also going to create a mask. And recent thing I learned is like you can use the greater than node and then set it as close to 0 but not 0 to get a mask. But if you use sine, not SINE like in trigonometry, but by comparison, so this is sine is negative or positive. So the plus or minus sign is how I remember it. And yeah, so now I have that. So it cuts off all the negative parts, which is anywhere in black. So black could be more than just 0. It could be negative numbers as well, and that this cuts it off. Yeah, it's funny that it has a clamp value because it cuts between positive and minus, and clamp cuts off everything below negative. So it's kind of curious. I guess most math nodes have that, at least the ones that I've come across. Yeah. So if we have this here. So we start with these petals, and then we want to add this to it, and then this actually makes it. Well, if we look at the geometry, what's going on here? Yeah, it's shifting it up, and then, but we actually want it to be inverted. So I'm just going to use a color ramp to control this. Change the cardinal because we want it to be kind of curved. We're going to flip these so it inverts, kind of. With this we can see what it looks like. Okay, yeah, we're using the wrong gradient. Good thing I sampled that to check. So now, yeah. Okay, yeah, so that is kind of correcting the curvature right there. So that's nice. Cool. So it's looking good. If yeah, maybe I want to bring this in more. So just a quick way to do that is just add. I think I can adjust the radius. No? Why not? 0, that should be no change. Control X to dissolve this, so good thing I tried it out. Let's see. That's what it looks like before. And I think that's looking pretty good. And let's again, let's try to create the colors for it. We can just pretty much use the sphere gradient, I think. So this is going to the viewers. Just sample that. Yeah. So I see three main values. There's the orange in the middle, and green. Well, the orange ring, the green, and then the yellow, of course. So there's that. And yeah, so let's make a shader. If I put this in here and then this in the base color, you can see. Oh yeah, just like the rings, this needs to be pretty close, and then we can make this a sharp value. I kind of like having a little bit of a bleed there. I think it's an alright effect for this. But yeah, constant could be the way to go. If you, yeah, it's not very naturalistic. I think I could also multiply this by the pattern I came up over here. Congrats on 100 subs. Yeah, thank you. Yes, very exciting. Also, Kaj, thanks for congratulating me earlier. But yes, thanks to the humongous blaze. It's yeah, it's been a quick journey, and yeah, it's pretty surprising that you guys all are actually interested in this stuff. And super awesome, too. Cool. So, I think I just want the petals from this. So, I'm just going to, I have somewhere, okay, there it is. I'm just going to mask this out to add it to that. I guess we can just mix these. I would otherwise use this, but the height goes up and down there, so it's not like a straight line if I were to map this out, right? Because I go dark, light, dark, light. If it was dark, then gray, then light, it'd be, that'd be good. Yeah, so I'll have to, that's why I have to mask this out instead. And yeah, so let's plug that in there. Yeah, and then flip these, so yeah, that's the result we'd want. Wait. So this is one of the inputs, and then this is another one. I'm getting a video call. Oh. Sorry, just a second. Okay. Yeah, cool. Just letting them know I'm in a live stream, so I'll be able to catch up with them later. Actually, if I just use this with the sphere gradient and just very lightly adjust the difference here, and get a pretty nice effect. I think. Yeah, so that'll be good. And that should be pretty good. Put this in here. Of course, like if we don't have to use all the geometry in the cube, and it's helpful if we just like mask a lot of it out. So right here, we have that, and then let's just use another one of these sine nodes, and then if I plug that into the alpha, we get transparency right there. And for some reason it's not masking out those other places, but I'm not too concerned about that. Could be like just a weird artifact. Okay, yeah, so we don't want a green ring. That should be on the inside of this, I realize. Okay, so yeah, there's not a whole lot to work with there. So this doing something wrong. Yes, this sphere gradient might be throwing something off. See, so we have the color there, but okay. So we have this alpha plugged into the mission. For some reason, when we go into this view, it's different from. Okay, yeah. Let's. We just have to adjust these better. Yeah. So yeah, let's make this like a lime green. Saturation, it's in the yellow area. The more yellow, adjusting hue. And yeah. So trying to figure out why this outer ring is so dramatic. Is it when I look here? Oh, okay. So there's. Because this isn't plugged into displacement, is no, it is, right? And this is mixing this. Just see what happens if I only plug. Oh, well, that is a mess. Can't make much sense of that. So, I think it's the sphere. That's where that indent is. So with that the greater than is different. Oh, because I changed this later. That's why I tripped, because this value is different from this, and that's kind of a fortunate thing about using color ramps, is that you can't. There's no input for each of these pegs. So. Alright, so yeah, I need to flip these, right? Let's look at this versus this. So if I look at this, This should be, oh yeah, instead of using gray, then I'll just use the sine value from this, because then that'll just mask it out. Yeah, then I can just use the darkest point. Oh, yeah, that's better. So, yeah, so fingers crossed that it works. Oh boy. Yes, now we have, but that's nice that we figured that out. Should just use sine as much as possible. Really quick and easy way to mask stuff out. And usually what you're looking for, it seems. Yeah, but we can't make it slope down from the border, so that's one con. But we can, maybe if we just add this, that's way too much. So we can, what's happening here now? When people are going to look at this, they probably won't notice the slope of this unless they're floral experts. But so it's weird that this looks the same. Without this, I think displacement is tripping me up, because this is object space. Let's use generated instead, because that updates with the geometry. Yeah, which is the default for the noise texture. So, well, I'm gonna do some transformation. So let's keep it all together. So, shift right click to drag and bring that reroute node in there. And now I can just get in here and adjust. So negative 0.5 and then I'm gonna scale it, I think, by 2. Yes, now we have that, and if I plug that into height, I think we'll get more predictable results. Yeah, because I think I was tripping on the displacement there. So we want to slope here, so I'm going to try the most I can right there. And yeah, bring this part up. And then yeah, so we have a slope there, the pedals go underneath that. I'd say that's right as a non-expert. So let's, yeah, just keep it as that. There we have that. Well, let's adjust this gradient so it looks more better. And yeah, just like that. And then maybe we just want to add more depth, like a feeling of more depth. So we can just maybe try multiplying it by this. Yeah, so we have that, and then so that's looking good. You know, it would have been a lot better if I just made these two separate materials and then mixed them together. Maybe I should just... Well, I have it here, so... let's change this to shade smooth so you don't see all that geometry. Yeah, so it looks a bit better. If you zoom out really far, it looks like a real one, right? So, yeah, and then let's adjust the slope here. Yeah, so that's more kind of what I'm going for, except not that dramatic. And if I look at this radial gradient texture, I think we are going to want to put this into two separate nodes. We have the masks to do it. Yeah, I'm gonna copy this and then separate these. This one, I'll leave these. So and then I'd use like instead of plugging the transparent here, I put it into this next shader. Which would interesting. It's giving me a sharp value, and then this. Wow. Yeah, so if we flip those, I guess we get normal C. I guess it was looking weird because there's no material data in those areas because we had it all masked out right here. Yeah, so we could gonna plug bump into this one, and I'm gonna use this radial texture, and just if I just plug Voronoi in it, we get we're gonna get some more interesting detail. Yeah, because there's kind of like these little well, this is a blurry image, but like you can see sort of these lines coming, these little folds inside each petal. So we can turn that down. We could actually change this to smooth, and I'm gonna press this, and this also smooths it out quite a bit. Yeah. I kind of like how it's affecting the middle, but I'd take it back. Let's just keep it in one material. I was kind of thinking like, oh, it'd be nice to have the bump separate and then just have access to all that, but I think we've made it pretty close, and I don't think in the future it'd be better practice. Like every element you can, if there's different material qualities, just use a different mix shader. It's probably more organized, but yeah. So because this area would have less subsurface scattering, it's more opaque, but I'm just gonna base the subsurface off of the color in this case, just to save myself a headache right here. Subsurface, if it's organic, it probably needs subsurface, because that just makes things more natural looking. If you're interested, you can check out my video on hair shading, or skin texturing, and I didn't actually talk about subsurface with hair, but that exists too. Some things maybe it's not enough to be substantial, but so usually, if we just shift it over to like a green, desaturate it. That'll make a nice subsurface color. Well, and not in there. So this we just did to tweak with the value, and then well, yeah, we can make the here. If I do separate, we can see how much for each of these there are. Let's just use this gradient texture and then micromanage that. So let's yeah, plug that in there. Yeah, and then yeah, and then let's turn up the saturation for this. I think. Notice, like, when you have the subsurface, it takes longer to render, because subsurface literally, like, when a light hits something and then it reveals the surface from underneath. So it's like bouncing a bunch inside of something when you shine a light on it, revealing the underlying surface. So that's yeah, you know, have a little bit of that in the middle. So that's why it requires more bounces in order to get, it needs more samples to get a smooth effect. Yeah, so like waxy things as well will give that effect. I'm not sure if you guys saw the updated mushroom video earlier today, but used a little bit of that and that, yeah, for that as well. And I tried something different with that one, where I just had a complete shader and then talked through it, because I attempted it yesterday and had some difficulties. So yeah, check that out. It's pretty short and concise, and then it does stuff. So curious if that format is how that compares to this. It was also live, but I'd already done everything, so maybe not as beginner friendly. Of course, we're gonna get like these icicles on the edge, just from the geometry being stretched out. So we can avoid that by shifting this, hopefully. I guess we can't. Let's use the petals instead. Maybe. Yeah, so let's try this. Trying very extreme values right here. Try using this. What can we do? Let's try using multiply. No. If I just use this sphere again, what does that give me? Okay. Let's try the color ramp, right? So I guess we could cut off the ends. I guess it's a sacrifice. Right. So now but it's leaving that part in between, so yeah, it's no good. I mean, let's try using, that's working better, so let's try it with something like this. Yeah. That's reasonable. So. Okay, yeah, that's better. Okay. Yeah, so moral of the story, just keep trying things until you get something that kind of works. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's add that distortion back. Oh. Yeah. Fungus was yesterday's prompt, so let's change that. So you know, I'm gonna use let's check that. So that's linear. That's we'll change it to spherical, which we do over here, but you know, it'd be a paradox to plug this back into here. So things only go forward to backwards. Paradox. If you've seen time travel stuff, they like to talk about those. You know, where you can't go back and kill your grandma because then you wouldn't be born or something. Yeah. So if I mask this out, I can control the distortion around it, just kind of a simple, subtle way. But yeah, let's see how that plays out. Just a quicker sample. Whoa, cool. Yeah, the most recent base color. We can look at that, and yeah, so middle looks pretty good. Let's bring this down. And yeah, now we can kind of have a flower. Yeah, and maybe we can also plug this into this. Let's remove this because we need to move all this stuff over. Yeah, but I'm gonna multiply this by another thing. So multiply by the Voronoi texture. And then I think it'd be add to the texture in here if we added some rings. There's kind of like these little, it's like beads or seeds in the orange part. So we can put something in there as well. So let's use another multiply node and plug it into here. And we'll just use a wave texture again. Let's make it pi, just, you know, for ethical reasons. 10 and let's use Voronoi. Shift S TV. Shift S, you know, swaps the node with another one, as opposed to adding one, which Shift A does. So, and actually want distance instead of color, and we only want it in this inner part. So, did we mask that anywhere? Yes, we did. We did it right here, which is a big callback. Maybe I can just use this. And yeah, a nice thing about Voronoi is we can kind of make into a wave texture if we decrease its randomness, we make it more regular. Yeah, so something. And you get thinner values. It only gets thinner, and the thickness is as thick as it gets. So, yeah. And let's multiply this so we can adjust the strength of it. Yeah, that's good. And yeah, we're still getting these icicles. So what did we do for that with this factor? Let's try to step back. Oh, sorry, this is getting sloppy. In organization, I'm doing a very fine job. Thank you. But yeah, so we were controlling with this. We must have lost it. Well, we added distortion, probably. That's my guess. You can roll back the tapes if you want. So, yeah. Again, if you guys have any more questions, happy to answer them. They don't have to be node related. I'm something of a 3D modeler as well in my free time. So, yeah. And actually, like, we don't care so much. The base color in this case, because I'm kind of adding these details, we can probably just get away with using this as bump. With darker parts, go deep in the lighter parts, just like displacement. So, not that, but so here's the furthest multiply results that were plugged in the viewer actually, which we always have with Control-Shift-Click. So, if I plug that in, we're gonna get nicer bump, and we have to even have the rings in here now. Let's look at how that is with patience. Not sure how blurry it is for you, but it's still blurry for me even, so cool. Let's turn down the subsurface. Yeah, it really shouldn't be like up to white, because that's huge. And to test this out, let's use an HDRI texture. I think we might be getting this on both sides potentially. No? Okay. Good. Oh yeah, because the sphere is spatial and it was put up here. Doesn't cut all the way through. Let's make the stem now. Let's try to make that. So we have this very fine flower, and then I'm going to add, how about while we're at it, let's test out environment texture. I think this makes my computer work a little bit harder because it's bouncing more light, but yeah, if I get some more realistic lighting this way, yeah, it's pretty good. And yeah, if it changes to world texture, if we want to always work in nodes, we can do that. I'm just going to make sure this is disconnected, and we can add it back later if we want. But yeah, I'm going to it's like a Jackson Pollock painting. So if I mask out the edges, so I'm going to take a middle section in here. I'm going to use that to make the stem. So if I use separate XYZ, it's grading from the top to bottom. The displacement's kind of making things look a little wonky, but that's what's happening. It's still accessing the same geometry, I think. So if I use a color ramp here, let's actually use an add node and absolute value so we get that reflected. Yeah, so right here we can see the effects. So yeah, minus 0.5 gives you right down the middle. Positive and negative, right? We've talked about that. And yeah, so we can really don't need that much geometry to work with this time. I'm just going to use to make a straight line, but we can use yeah, and I'm going to use the sine node again right here, and vector this map. And then, yeah, to rescale it, we can just use multiply. And yeah, hopefully this is a little experimental, what I'm doing right here. I mean, for me, in that I'm pretty new to this, but like I haven't before masked out something that I'm using vector displacement on, but I have the theory in my head. So, and this needs something to multiply. Wait, no. If we adjust this, yeah, okay, cool. We're getting values there. And I think in here we need these original coordinates. These aren't making any geometric changes because it's not in the displacement. Yeah, so I'm gonna mess with this until I actually realize what I need to do. But Z, we're not gonna make any changes to, and then, okay, great, yeah, I think these are good. And keep in mind, this is the change in something, so like 1 is good, and then, yeah, we can bring it in there. And yeah, we could even with a mix shader, and then one of them's a transparent shader. We can, well, right now it's half transparent, half no shader, which is black. We can plug this into here, and we have a column, and we can just, yeah, bring that in. And then we can actually stretch it out. Yeah, and it looks like it's scaling down. So, I'm not sure exactly why it's doing that, but yeah, maybe we could try multiply. So its origin appears to be at the center, but its scaling is, yeah, I don't know. It's wizardry that, you know, I shouldn't even be practicing because I don't know how it works. But yeah, if I have this and then we have this, so how do we combine them? We use another mix shader, and or yeah, well we'll actually use this mix shader and then plug this into here. Yeah, and let's bring this material viewer in here. And now we're seeing nothing because everything's where it should be except for this node right here. Uh-oh. This is getting thrown off by the displacement that we're using right here. Are we all using the same coordinate system? Okay. What's this node connected to? Okay. Okay. So we actually want it in here. And let's check this gradient's probably wrong now. Whoa. So where's my displacement? Okay. was I even doing here? Maybe we'll come back to that. Oh yeah, here's the output node. Viewer. So we have this here, and then we have okay, so now we can see what this is doing. It's just a 0, so it should be at the middle, right? But it's not. I guess 0.5 is still the way to go there. Oh yeah, and it was looking at a weird position because this was also, I had to keep that in mind as well. So let's plug that back into the material output. Yeah, this was a mistake making that far, so let's just plug that in there. Well, that's cool. We want to flip this, climb. Okay, did I ruin this? I mean, I have made the sunflower, right? I mean, I would consider this part the flower, right? We have these mask components, we just need to get this vector displacement right, and this might be the part where I just cry and give up, but yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna cry, but you know, it's tough. So this should be subtract, and this should take from this. I think you always need to subtract that at the end to get normal. Hey, do so, Dragus, welcome back, as always. So I can't. What's going on? Thanks. Yeah. I've been getting that a lot lately. I didn't even notice I had 1,000 until Kaj pointed it out. So, yeah. Went from, I guess, 25 to 100 in the last 28 days, according to YouTube analytics. So that's, yeah, feels good, you know. It's, I was saying this on my mushroom stream that, you know, for a long time I wanted to make a YouTube channel, and then and I was always like, I got stuck on things like what's the right name, and yeah, a lot of things, and then I just got started and it was great. So yeah, if we don't, one thing I realized with these petals is they all just kind of have the same curvature. If we I think this, yeah, I'm kind of failing with the complete flower. Maybe that's something I can revisit someday. And I can focus maybe on teaching things that I really know better. Your name's good as long as it doesn't have numbers. Yeah, exactly. Funny thing about this name is I've had it since like high school, and then yeah, and then I was thinking like, oh, should I name myself like Blender Bro, or, you know, which, you know, I don't think you want to put yourself in a box, because I want to make a lot of things on different stuff, and Blender just happens to be like the best tool for all of that, it seems. So yeah, and but yeah, it's from I don't know if you read Dr. Seuss as a kid, but there was a book called North Going Zacks, except it was spelled with an X, and the they would just go in certain directions, and then but they met at some point, and then there was a west going Zach and east going Zach, or some directions that conflict, and then they just got really stuck. So it's kind of about people not compromising because they're stuck in different ways. Dr. Seuss, great, great writer. Very creative, great artist. This is a mistake because I'm using the curve right here. So, but we can use this right here. I'll just linear light it. It's now a verb. So just put that in there. Okay. Now it seems to be affecting the color. Let's just make that really subtle. And convert it to grayscale. So in the converters, there's RGB to black and white. Yeah. So now the difference should be more subtle per petal. Cool. I guess if you get the numbers too big, it's not very noticeable. Wood, rocks, stuff like that. Also, I'm trying to create a werewolf in Blender. Yeah, let me take a screenshot of that. Yeah, I'm planning on doing more like character art stuff and procedural texturing. Yeah, it'd be cool to do a quick one on the VDB cloud system, the new cloud system in Blender. Yeah, procedural wood is a cool go-to, and I've definitely done that a few times. So yeah, I think it'd be good to do a series on nodes. I think, if you know how to make enough things, then you can pretty much figure out how to do anything. So yeah, that's a good idea. And, yeah, I think I'd definitely talk about wood and rocks if I were to do a series on procedural nodes. So kind of losing that petalness, so we're gonna mess that up. I'm curious if you guys can hear my keyboard during my live streams. My microphone is right next to it, but yeah, it's just kind of the setup I have to live with. But yeah. So let's try doing this again. Keep it simple. All the curves are going into here. I don't think they're going anywhere else. So this is what we're affecting right here. So if I bring this together and then add that node with linear light, we can yeah, and change this to Voronoi. Voronoi might be what's messing it up. So let's see if we lose that here. So Shift S. I think I'm gonna have to go because some people seem to be calling me. So yeah. So yeah, we have a flower, but yeah, there you go. So see ya. Thanks for watching.